It's no secret that Marvel has dominated the public's eye for the past decades with their movies. They redefined the way people look at blockbuster movies and consume superhero content as a whole. Now everything must be in a universe and or multiverse to become commercially successful. Well, at least successful to a certain group of people chronically on the internet. But their prime competitor, DC, has no doubt fallen short in their movie effort, mostly caused by their need to catch up to where Marvel was after releasing Avengers in 2012. They start with a darker, grittier take on one of their most acclaimed superheroes, and then they fast forward into their very next film into a connected universe that is already in a Civil War type predicament, with Batman v Superman, which so happens to coincide with the release of Marvel's actual Civil War, something that took them 8 years and 12 movies to build up to. DC was rushing to make their magnum opus in Justice League the very next year and just crashed and burned upon release. Critics hated it, fans hated it, it created a terrorist group on the Bird app. All around bad look for DC movies. And on the other hand, Marvel seemed to completely take the audience admiration for the next couple of years, thanks to their first Spider-Man film, their first good Thor movie, introducing Black Panther in blockbuster fashion, and we can't forget their actual magnum opus, which was Infinity War and Endgame. To the general audience, Marvel had the better superheroes and universe, and it was clear through their movies. But the nerds, the dweebs, the fanboys, all knew DC really had them beat as a whole in every type of media adaptation besides movies. DC dominated Marvel. TV, animation, video games. Starting from the 90s, they were pretty even in animation, then go hit for hit with little resistance from either side. But fast forward 5 years into the early 2000s, Marvel starts to fall apart animation wise. Their highest acclaimed show is 2 seasons of Spectacular Spider-Man in 2009. They have shows that show great support to Spider-Man like X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and Iron Man Armored Adventures. But when you stack it up against Static Shock, The Batman, Teen Titans, and 2 Justice League shows, it's basically like the run the Celtics had to the finals this year. Light work, a cakewalk, a breeze, whatever you want to say. They're mopping the floor with them. But it doesn't just stop at animation. We can talk about the Arkham trilogy that redefined how studios develop superhero video games, and the iconic Lego Batman trilogy. Yeah, DC loves themselves some Batman, I can't lie, but they do have fun things like Injustice 1 and 2. And yes, it did start the niche for the evil Superman trope, but looking at the games in a vacuum, they were fun and cool to play. And before 2018, Marvel's biggest claim to fame in video games was Marvel v Capcom, or maybe the video game tie-in for Wolverine Origins. But the last category DC has been dog-walking Marvel in is of course live-action TV. From the early 2000s to the mid 2010s, DC has had Marvel on a leash. Smallville, Gotham, Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and even the recent shows have shown to be good like Peacemaker, Stargirl, Doom Patrol, and Superman and Lois. DC has dominated Marvel in 3 of the 4 adaptation lanes for their comic characters, but as of late, it looks like the tides are turning. As I hope you can tell from the title and thumbnail, it looks like Marvel and DC have switched sides in the past few years, and maybe for the next couple of years as well. Marvel has continuously released great video games since 2017. 3 great AAA Spider-Man titles, 2 Lego Marvel games, and 2 underrated Guardians of the Galaxy games. Well, it seems DC has dropped the ball since. With releases like Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, DC has fallen from the high graces they were just at 8 years ago. In the TV space, I might have over-exaggerated with the inclusion of the CW shows, because they consistently fall off or plateau after their second season, and just are some of the worst superhero content you could experience at times. Except for Arrow Season 5, they were back on their crack for that one. And I liked it! But for the most part, since 2015, Marvel have been producing great television, even though they never really acknowledged it until now. Shows like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and The Punisher were some of the highest streamed shows on Netflix. And they showed a level of groundedness that DC shows could never really stick to, or even do in some cases. These shows formed a great foundation for Marvel TV to build, and when they officially got the rights back to the characters, they even put this version of Daredevil in the MCU. And it looks like The Punisher will be in the new Daredevil series, which means we could be seeing the whole gang get back together. Except for him. Let's have a do-over with him. But even now in the MCU, they have shown they can produce some high-quality live-action television. With 2 seasons of Loki, and I'll stand on my opinion of the first 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel being some of the best TV Marvel had produced since the Netflix era. And like 70% of WandaVision was amazing, mostly because of the visual storytelling, but still, they had some great moments in it. The rest are a mixed bag, to be honest, but most of it is better than DC's recent releases that include Naomi and Gotham Knights. Animation was where DC had the massive lead in most people's opinion, but it looks like Marvel might be coming back for the crown very fast. Marvel, or maybe I should say Sony, has been doing something that DC has been scared to do for decades now, and that is make an animated movie worth watching in theaters. The Spider-Verse films have been revolutionary for the medium of animation and set new standards for how people look at animation as a whole. DC hasn't made an impactful theatrical animated movie since the early 90s with The Mask of the Phantasm. Sure, they've had limited releases and movies made for children, but it just again shows how little they care for their animated releases. And moving past their movies, Marvel Marvel just released one of the best animated shows of the decade in X-Men 97. I mean, I had my own doubts about the show, from the art style to the nostalgia bait, but then I started to actually watch the show because I saw people liking it and I was hooked. It's actually really good. The animation is so vibrant and the stories are topical and interesting. I was there, eyes glued for every twist and turn and amazing action scene. I haven't felt that feeling for DC since the first seasons of Young Justice, and even then, X-Men's animation dwarfs them in comparison. Don't get me wrong, my adventures with Superman is like a side hug, but I'm looking for the full wraparound bear hug, you know?
Pause.
So like I said, Marvel has caught up and have not passed DC in certain areas, but we still need to talk about the live action movies. And we all know Marvel has been dropping the ball with their movies nowadays. I mean, they've had occasional bangers now, don't get me wrong, but we're looking for consistency. Solid movies back to back to back. And that just isn't happening for Marvel right now, or DC. But with Jimmy at the helm and a super start to the movie side of the DCU, it looks like the tides might be switching in DC's favor. But obviously as fans, we would be winning if everyone was hitting on all cylinders at all times. I mean, Marvel has some pretty fun games lined up. Rivals, 1943, Wolverine, Iron Man, all seem like they have potential to be something worthwhile. And DC has something, maybe. Wonder Woman is a game they announced ages ago and everyone just wants one look, one update, but nothing has come since the announcement years ago.
Bitches acting like they wanna know me. Finally ain't no phony. Try to check me, it's a warning. Let's go!
They're looking pretty good animation-wise with their new Superman show and Batman show that's soon to come. Plus, it looks like Gunn is pretty committed to the medium of animation by starting his DCU with an animated series, and recently announcing a Blue Beetle animated series, which will be DC's first series not focusing on a character related to Batman or Superman in 2 decades. And Gunn has mentioned that he wants to do in-universe animated theatrical films at some point, and is apparently producing new AAA games yet to be announced. So maybe one day in the next few years, we can see both these companies at their best from all outlets, including comics with their biggest characters, because we all know they both have problems there. Thank you for watching, and tell everyone what you're looking forward to most from DC or Marvel. I've been rewatching the Netflix Marvel show, so that Daredevil Born Again show is looking mighty intriguing to me. Like and subscribe if you're new. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.